Joining us right now is our friend from the Greenlight Pod, Chris Long, here on the program. And before the radio audience joins, we'll talk about this again. Let's raise money for those in need for Hurricane Helene. Chris, what do you got? What do you have lined up here, sir?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, that hurricane has devastated a lot of, my neighbors, people that live near Virginia, East Tennessee, North Carolina, a lot of places that I've gone to camp, to drive through, to enjoy, like, beautiful places with awesome people. And like, in the event of a hurricane like this, where there's flooding to the point where certain towns are wiped out. I mean, like, certain people are wondering right now where their loved ones are. It's not just about you losing all your stuff. It's like you wake up and the main street of your town is gone. Um, I think we all should do something to help out. And so our podcast is going to donate to Team Rubicon. And Team Rubicon is a veteran-led organization. I met this guy Jake Wood, who I met him at the ESPYs. He was a veteran and played football at Wisconsin, played with Joe Thomas. And I just was like, this is a dude who's got it figured out. He started this Team Rubicon thing so that they can assist when there is a disaster, get boots on the ground, logistics, supplies, whatever needs to happen. And by donating 25K, our podcast is going to put a group of volunteers on the ground for weeks at a time. And so, if you go to the Team Rubicon website or you want to donate or volunteer, visit www.trusa.co/Chris Long. I think what they do is amazing work, and it's work that's absolutely needed right now in Tennessee, in North Carolina, in parts of Virginia. Like, it is just awful. I can remember, Rich, there was a hurricane way before I was around in 1969.
Mm-hmm.
The next county over, Nelson County, a similar situation where they got like 27 inches of rain in a night. And Hurricane Camille made landfall, and these people in Appalachia don't really have a quick way out when 27 inches of rain comes down. And over 100 people lost their lives that night and in the following couple days. And people still talk about that. I mean, this is 50 years later. And so these storms are storms that, these folks are going to be recovering from for a long time. But we just wanted to do something to blast this information out, because Team Rubicon is a great choice if you want to, give to a group that's putting boots on the ground to help directly and can distribute supplies and whatever people need in the moment. I think Jake's great. I think what they're doing is great. So check them out, Team Rubicon. And if you follow that link, www.trusa.co/Chris Long, you can find a way to help. I mean, like $25, $50, $100 goes straight to local communities devastated by these storms. And if you want to help out and match what we're doing, if there's somebody out there that wants to give a bunch of money, you can put boots on the ground for a couple of weeks just in one fell swoop. So check us out. Check out Team Rubicon. And people's worlds got turned upside down, Rich. And it's important to remind people, like, how lucky we are to not be on that end of that. And it could be anybody, but there are a lot of folks that are totally isolated, cut off right now from help, and we got to help them.
Yeah, our radio audience just rejoined in the middle of your impassioned plea. Again, trusa.co/Chris Long to donate and put boots on the ground throughout Appalachia, throughout all of these Hurricane Helene ravaged states. And in terms of, finding somebody who wants to donate, I'm raising my hand. All of us here, we're going to put $5,000 in the kitty.
You're the man, dude.
Chris,
I appreciate you.
From here, on our show. Because I'm seeing the devastation. I'm seeing these videos of homes just floating away, businesses being washed out, roads done, and the infrastructure, and folks sitting at home wondering how they're going to live, how they're going to make ends meet. It's just devastating. And one day you got it, next day you don't. And so again, trusa.co/Chris Long to do all that, and you're going to tweet it out too?
Yeah, I'm going to post it right now with the link.
Okay, bud. So
yeah, just thinking of everybody who's affected by this hurricane, whether it's in Florida or in my neck of the woods, but
Georgia, Tennessee,
Georgia,
crazy,
Tennessee,
man, South Carolina, the Carolinas, unbelievable.
It's bad. So we just, I mean, there's no point in calling ourselves Americans if we're going to be like, well, that's a few states over. I think we can all help out a little bit. Like, we're all on the same team here, and I'm hoping that those folks get the care they need.
Unity indeed, sir. Unity
It's just
indeed.
beginning. It's just beginning. There's a lot of work to be done down the road, and Team Rubicon and groups like that are going to be getting that work done.
trusa.co/Chris Long for that. All right. We got about 10, 15 minutes before we send you off to your gig inside the NFL. So what are your takeaways from week 4? I'll just give you that. Throw it out there.
Oh, man.
What's your prime takeaway here from week 4?
I thought about you often Sunday night when the Bills were getting throttled by the Ravens, and we laughed on the show last week when you were like, "Are they the best team, Chris?" And I was like, I'm wiggling out of that answer. I am deflecting. Like, I don't want to answer that question really about anybody right now, because it is so hard to tell. That's my takeaway, is like, you track a team week to week, you try to apply the transitive property of this team beat that team, therefore this much must happen. I think now more than ever, it's just hard to tell, especially because of the lack of the preseason, new quarterbacks kind of taking over the lead. Look at the NFC. Like, the top 4 or 5 teams in the NFC are led by, a lot of retreads and a rookie phenom. And I don't mean the word retread pejoratively. I think Sam Darnold is the type of guy I've been pounding the table to get him on a good team, and here he is, and look what happens. And I think Vikings are real, man. I really.
Oh, okay. Or the internet just went down, and I think
it's not believing the Vikings.
Did the Lions pull the plug on him? You there?
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, Rich, I'm back.
Yeah, now you're on your phone. I appreciate that. You had your podcast set up, but everything good?
Everything's good. We've got some technical difficulties here. I'm going to put my phone right where it needs to be. This is like going to the backup quarterback.
I like it.
Let me frank myself. I was in the middle of talking about quarterbacks, Rich. I think it's so interesting that the NFC is kind of being led by these guys that we just didn't expect to be at the top of the leaderboard. Usually there's a couple teams in the first quarter of the year that we look out and we say, like, that team might not be real, but, like, things are flipped on their heads this year because of something like Christian McCaffrey, now speculated to have, like, tendonitis in both Achilles. Like, that's a big deal. That seems like a developing story that might affect their ceiling. You talk about Kansas City losing Rashee Rice. It's like they just got done figuring out last year, and they tried to stick the landing on improving their circumstance, and now they're kind of like not right back where they started, but they're in a situation now where they're going to have to figure this thing out on the fly again. And I think what's encouraging for them is the defense stepped up. So these teams that have complementary football that they can play, like San Francisco, like Kansas City, they're going to be in it longer. They're going to have an opportunity to figure things out. I was so impressed with Baltimore and what they did, and just saying, hey, we're going to get big and make you load the box, and you can't stop the run. And if you load the box, we're going to pop it over the linebackers' heads. We're going to play games with these linebackers. That was the exact game plan I wanted to see from that group. And for a team that in the playoffs last year just like forgot to run the football, I was really impressed with their commitment to it. And I think, like, I don't know how that game plays out. If Derrick Henry, look at his eyes, bro.
I know, right? Look at that, right? Look at the rain around him, too. I love this photograph. It's the photograph of the year right now, as far as I'm concerned, through the first 4 weeks of the NFL. I love it.
Rich, I don't think I've seen that photograph. Like, who wants to tackle him?
Nobody. Nobody.
And what was crazy to me was the first play of the game defined the whole game, because once he did that, it kind of dictated the terms of the game. And, like, is this team going to be more competitive next time they see the Ravens? I think so. They'll probably have Milano back, they'll have Johnson back, but that doesn't change the fact that you have to get in some heavier sets defensively to slow these guys down. And then you've got to be really disciplined with your eyes, because they stress you from a horizontal leverage standpoint, with the mesh and everything they have going on with Lamar and everything he does. And then they stress you vertically. So there's just leverage issues all over the field when you play these guys. And, you got to tackle that guy right there who took off. And when he hit the 40, Rich, I don't think anybody caught him. Like, I don't think anybody, I know nobody caught him, but all these little people didn't gain a single, yard on him. It was crazy. I said on my show, it reminded me of the guy in San Diego that stole the tank. And he had top cars chasing behind him. and they looked like ants. It was crazy. And they couldn't catch him. Because what are they going to do when they catch up to the tank?
Nothing.
Like, look at his eyes.
Nothing.
Right?
Look at his eyes. So I was really impressed with them. And then finally, like, the Jayden Daniels kid, we're going on 2 weeks now of saying this kid's real. He's real. Like, he's absolutely real. I don't know how good the team is, but he's real.
Oh, he is real. Because again, you're seeing it rhythm, right? You're seeing smart decisions. You're seeing good coaching and excellent execution by a young'un who is 100% grown up. The throws he makes, the decisions he makes, I just hope he doesn't have a moment where he kind of loses his sense of self-protection. You know, like that could be a troubling moment. You know, and he had one of them against the Giants, and we had Dan Quinn on. He definitely said he spoke to him about that self-preservation aspect of it, Chris.
Yeah, I think like he's got to toe the line between it's funny that he's doing it in Washington where the last guy who was so talented there in RG3, and I'm not going to compare the two because they're different players, but one thing they both have is an element of play extension and quarterback run game, and they're both wiry, you know, and I think that's the thing about Jayden. Everybody's like, oh, you're skinny, I don't want you to run, but like, don't lose that. Like, don't lose the pocket presence, the ability early in a down to say, hey, there's not going to be anything open in this look. Like, maybe they're manned up, maybe everybody's running this way, and I can pick up an easy 3 and skirt out of bounds. Like, my thing is learn how to fall, learn how to get out of bounds, and learn to pass up the big hit. Like, I think Lamar does a really good job of that, actually, as a running quarterback. I always say this, I don't see Lamar get burped a lot. And by burped, I mean, like, is he getting up? You know? Jayden Daniels is a guy who the quarterback run for him is not the main focus because this guy's throwing the laces off the pigskin. But when you have a guy who's calm and collected on early downs, and he can hit the big throws on third down, and he can run the football, like, you really do have a guy with a full menu who stresses you. And I feel like watching this team, they're never behind the sticks right now. And that's a testament to Kliff Kingbury, who, I mean, Jared Goff had a great night last night. You remember the whole "you're good enough for Detroit" thing?
Yep.
You know, that took a couple years to hear that. Kliff got that "you're good enough for Washington" speech after the game a month into the season. So while it might be Jayden Daniels that's the straw that stirs the drink, like having a coordinator, hey, listen, I think Caleb Williams could be pretty good watching his tape, but we're not going to find out with this guy calling plays, you know? So there is something to be said for having a coordinator like that who was a bit of a distressed asset himself. Like, people were like, well, you're the reason Kyler Murray didn't work out. And as the season starts and Kyler Murray looks damn good with Petzing down there, Kliff's going to the desert, and you want to see if he was the reason, and you want to see if this kid's real, and he's absolutely real. Their efficiency on second down is up near the top of the league. So I was looking at like first, second, and third down to figure out why they seem like they're always ahead of the sticks. Not only are they one of the most efficient teams on second down, I think the delta between them and the second best team in EPA on third down is like enormous.
Well, hold on. So you're talking about you're not going to assess Caleb Williams in a similar vein as Jayden Daniels because of the guy who's calling the plays in Chicago. What are you seeing out of Shane Waldron's offense that gives you pause here, Chris?
Well, a lot. I mean, I don't know what their identity is, honestly. I mean, like, I'm not making an excuse for the kid because I don't think he's playing as well as Jayden Daniels, like, period. And if you'd asked me coming out who the best quarterback was in this class, I would have said Jayden Daniels. And I told you, if Chicago makes this trade, you have to be ready for a little bit of a disappointment early where it's like, you're not ready to win now. Like you were ready to build towards winning now last year if you had, accepted some of the, the assets you get out of that haul, if you traded out of the pick, and like maybe you could fortify your team. And like, as evidence, like Justin Fields in the second half the other day, if Pittsburgh would ever say, hey, we don't have to wait to get down to use him, I do think there's a starting quarterback in there. And I think with Chicago's defense, that team was ready to win this year. But as long as you're willing to play the long game, and that might include sifting through some scheme issues, and some of the, hey, we couldn't get the O-line patched up, even though people told me it was like the best situation in the history of football for a rookie QB, and then a couple started making excuses for the rookie. The rookie can do some special things. I see it. But, in general, I haven't seen him move the pocket enough. I really like him throwing on the run. I don't mean to be like kind of surface level, but that's one thing that jumped out at me watching him the other day. And then, there are throws he could hit before the half in the red zone. But I'm also watching him 2 weeks ago. And when your offensive coordinator is blocking a guy with a 94 number with a guy wearing an 11, like, that's a problem down on the goal line. And then when you're going speed option off of that into that look, like, I just don't know if they know what the identity of that offense is yet. Now, Swift had a good game the other day, so that's something you build on. But I think the Commanders know who they are, and they built the group knowing who they want to be. And I think, like, for instance, I watched, the Cincinnati game, which I was like you, Rich, like probably my jaw's on the floor in the second half of that game, watching him throw the football. But you know what else they did? They protected him. The tackle that they grabbed in the third round from TCU, I think his name's Coleman. He did a really good job on Trey Hendrickson. It was 2.86 time to pressure. In NFL terms, that's a long time. And so he's got all day. They draft Luke McCaffrey. They've had a nice connection. They bring in Zach Ertz. He's had a really good connection. I mean, Zach Ertz is a great player, played in this game a long time. He told me before the season started, this guy's going to be good, and he's going to be good right away. And so when you're a veteran like that, talk about a guy like that, I mean, it just confirms that what you're seeing is real. I'll put it this way. And by the way, you got Terry McLaurin, who might be one of the most well-liked receivers in the game, and everybody's felt for him catching the ball from a bunch of different guys. He's waiting his whole career. He's not a spring chicken anyways. He was like 24 as a rookie. I feel for him. I want to see him catch the ball from somebody as great as him. And watching him in that Cincinnati game, I was just so happy for the organization, as happy as a former Eagle could be. And frankly, there's pieces like Frankie Louvu that you bring in from Carolina. It just seems like Dan Quinn and company did a really nice job. And we kind of wrote them off relative to the excitement in Chicago. And so I look at that and I say, like, it's interesting. They traded away defensive pieces up front.
Yeah, Chase Young. Yeah. And Sweat.
Yeah. I mean, more so Sweat. Yeah, Sweat. But I look at this and I say, are they one of these teams that realize all of a sudden they might actually be good right now, and maybe they're buyers on the defensive side of the ball before the deadline?
Maybe so, man. Maybe so. They're 3-1, so they're leading the NFC East, and I think they're the best team in the NFC East through 4 weeks. And it's not just the record; you could see it with the eye test as well.
They ran for 200 yards.
I know they're killing it. They're doing very well. So before
and my Eagles stink right now. I'm not saying they stink, but that was stinky. So, you know what I mean? I'm not going to make any excuses. Like I said it on my show, the guy playing the best quarterback in the NFC East right now is this rookie, Jayden Daniels.
There's no doubt.
And the Eagles defense doesn't look that great right now. So I mean, like, they got to watch out for this team.
No doubt. Before I let you go, so what did I say to you about the Bills? What did I say to you again? Like I said,
you liked how I run it back. Here we go.
No. Hold on. What did I say to you again? I said, how did I put it, Chris?
You go, are the Bills the best team in the AFC, Chris?
Now that's one way to put it, just like you said it. That's not the way I heard it on your pod. Roll it.
Said it to Rich Eisen. He's like, come on the show Tuesday. And he's my boy. I love Rich. I'm going on a show again tomorrow. But he did the thing, and I've imitated him 5 times now, where he's like, are the Bills the best team in the AFC, Chris? And I'm like, it's not even Halloween, Rich.
Yeah, I mean, you went up a little higher, like
higher in the octave.
Is that an imitation of me, Chris?
I think I'm pretty good. I've heard a couple times unsolicited, Rich, that I'm pretty good at the Rich Eisen.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of like just something to think about here, Chris. Just nibble on this question. Take a nibble. Maybe you want a big bite. Maybe you want to take a big bite out of the Bills are the best team in the AFC Week 3. And that's what I'm trying to avoid, Rich.
Yeah.
That is the reason I felt so vindicated. Not that the Bills lost, because I want the Bills to win. I love the Bills.
Sure.
I love Josh.
No, I get it.
I love Lamar too. I want everybody to win. But on Sunday night, I'm sitting there and I'm like, boy, am I glad I pushed back.
Okay.
Okay.
The best team in the AFC, Chris?
Chris Long, everybody. He does a great Rich Eisen, apparently, and he's just a great guy. trusa.co/Chris Long to donate to Team Rubicon on behalf of everybody who needs it in the areas that have been ravaged by Hurricane Helene. Good people, Chris. We'll chat soon.
Hey, I appreciate you, and thanks for the donation, Rich. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
It'll be there by end of day, as they say. Thanks again, Chris.
Thank you, guys.
And check, he's heading off to Philly to shoot Inside the NFL across the way in New Jersey.
Yeah, I tweeted out the link just now, so please do what you can. I just donated. Super easy, so please donate.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.